Going live.
No need. You don't have to do anything. Are we
I don't
live?
need to.
Yep.
Yeah. Go for it.
All right, guys. Welcome back. This is SSL Rewatchables. Sorry, episode 3. My name is Rezhan, and as always, here with Mr. Isaac Go. Say hello, Mr. Isaac Go.
What's up, guys?
And again, this is episode 3, and for the first half of this rewatchable, we have a special guest. We are talking about Advanced Pro today, Advanced Pro versus the Knights in SSL 10. We have Mr. Jerry Tay from Advanced Pro joining us. What's up, Jerry? Say hello.
Yeah, hi guys. The best entertainment manager is here, as usual. Every game.
Is that your official role on the team?
Yeah, used to, bro. I have to do all this kind of job, man.
So without giving too much away, what is the role of the entertainment manager?
Okay, for example, I have to organize some makan session, make them bonding together. But as usual, when you talk about ball session, never one appear. I'm not sure why.
so no practice, no scrimmage, only for the makan session.
They just don't want to play with me. They just don't want to play with me, I guess. They used to tell me that they have a lot of games, but they just don't want to play with me. Fuck, man, all this
Damn,
money.
did you have that before, Isaac, on any of your teams? You've jumped on so many different teams. I've never had an entertainment manager on my team.
Entertainment manager, no. Sometimes we just usually after a game, we usually just discuss straight away, like, hey, do we want to do a meetup, or something?
Yeah, that's
like
not the same. Jerry's the entertainment manager, man, full time. I need one of those.
Yeah.
It's really entertainment. Only entertainment, bro.
All right, so we're talking again. Today we're talking about episode 3. We're talking about Advanced Pro versus Knights. We're going back to season 10, which is the second championship event of Advanced Pro. This is the quarterfinals of season 10 against the Knights, and we're gonna just let the video start. This episode, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're actually going to jump to different timestamps. We're not going to necessarily watch the whole game. But before we start, real quick, officially today was the end of phase 2 of MCO, but now we know it's extended 2 more weeks. Jerry, really quickly, how are you dealing with it? How is MCO for you, and how are you going to deal with the next 2 weeks?
I mean, actually, it's quite luxury time for us because we used to be very busy, not in the city, even not in the country. We fly everywhere, but just a very luxury time for us to train ourselves as well. Even our player like Sun Peng, sometimes he organize some training. CP also. Then most of the player will be joining into the call. Yeah, everyone train themselves just to keep fit. Hope that we won't be so weak when we back to the court itself.
But how about for you? Are you doing at home? Are you doing sit-ups at home? Are you running? Do you have a hoop at home? How are you spending your time?
Gym, just some normal weight gym, just to maintain my body, as I'm not the main player in the court. I just need to maintain my stamina. That's it.
All right, Isaac, I know you're on the hunt for a rim. I don't know how legal that is, or where you're gonna put it. What is your plan for this next phase?
So remember, I told you guys that the neighborhood opposite my neighborhood, I passed by and I saw this house. They have a basketball rim, which I don't think they are using. So yesterday, I went out and I wanted to have the guts to go and ask lah. So I passed by the house one more time, and I realized no one was staying there. So the house is empty. So I look back at the tiang of the basketball, right? It doesn't have a hook.
Oh,
They only got the tiang and the board. I mean, which is still fine. I'm sure I can just buy a ring and then make do with it, right? But now the thing is, the house is empty. So do I go and take it just like that? Or what? So
you
now
got a court. You got a half court ready to go. You mean?
Sorry?
You got a half court already. The court is ready. Just the rim.
No. The board, the tiang.
Yeah lah. I mean, saying the house is empty. That means the whole kawasan you got already lah.
I'm just planning to put in my porch or something like that, whatever works. But now the question is, do I just go and take it like that, or
anyhow, you still have to ask, I guess. If it's inside a house, lah, you can't go and take it like that, right?
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, no one's staying. Or if I want to be bad, I can just take it just like that. But I don't know how
No,
am I
my
gonna
question
take.
is, if no one is playing there, why don't you just go there and play?
No, it's somebody's house. You want me to climb in and
It's
You're
actually
gonna
play
climb
inside
in
the
and
house.
take,
You
right?
mean it's actually inside the house?
Yeah.
yeah,
Then it's
it's inside the
then it's not
house.
stealing. Okay. Anyway,
Okay, move on.
let's move on. Let's move on. All right. So let's talk about this game. The video is playing now. You guys can watch and comment as we go along. I'm gonna first kind of give the background for this game. So if you guys remember, this was season 10. We only had one division this season, and the top four teams were basically the Stallions, Ligers, Advanced Pro, Knights, and I think Johan was there as well. The MVP was from the Stallions, Chu Wei Hong. He had 33 points a game. And then second leading scorer was Yao Ribo. So an interesting season, I think. Also, this season we only had 4 regular season games, if you guys remember, but we had everyone making the playoffs. As we do that real quick, if you guys just see that step by Jim, I want to bring that up a little bit later, but I thought that was a sick move that he did against Yao Long there. Again, so those things were kind of what was happening in SSL that season. Atlas Ballers and ISKL had just joined. We had the Rising Stars game, but Advanced Pro, you guys averaged 71 points per game. You ended up the whole season. You had an 8-0 record, undefeated. Your leading scorer was Yao Long. Second was Sun Peng. You guys defeated Johan in the semis and eventually Stallions in the final. So, Jerry, what do you remember, just a big picture of this season, the second season for you guys in SSL?
Actually, on every season, right? I guess, even like the fourth season, even including the one that recently happened, we used to play almost like only 1 point different with Knights. Do you guys realize?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we almost lose, then we come back, then we stay with only 1 point. I guess not guess, but they actually train themselves well. They adopt their strategy well. You see, all their running point, they know where to find their teammates. Yeah, this is which we are not so close. The strategy lah, not so strong as them lah. We used to play one man game. If you guys realize, like Yao Long, or on this season 10, we play on like Yao Long or Chin Teck Wei only or John Earn. Then the remaining will just go for defense. That's it. This is our strategy on season 10.
That's interesting, and we'll bring this up a bit later about your guys' offense, because you're right, it does go through one of those two guys, but I think you guys end up moving the ball a little bit better than the Knights in this game. But we can talk. We can talk about that a bit later. Again, just a little bit of background on your team. You guys have what, two or three former Dragons players? John Ung,
John Earn, Yao Long, Chin Teck Wei consider. But he's not in KL Dragon, he's just in Malaysia team.
Yeah, Malaysia team. Then you got obviously state players as well. So you guys have quite a well-rounded team, very experienced team.
good.
You guys are all friends, or how do you guys know each other?
No, we actually they are friends, but like me, like Chipping, Charles, we all are just invited. Like Sun Peng also, because invited by I guess should be Coach Lim. So sometimes he just picks someone that everyone can join together. So in season 10, right, it's the first time we play together, so we're still yelling with each other. Under the third season, you see the yelling become lesser because everyone knows really where to go and what to do already. But basically, they just yell at me. I really just dreaming the whole season 10. Not playing, not around, not attend.
Interesting. Yeah, you don't have too many minutes in this game, but you guys you had a front row seat, so you can give us some insight. Meanwhile, on the Knight side, they average about the same number of points. They were 3-3 on the season. Afifi was 9th in the league in scoring. Ajim and Azat were following them in points per game. They ended up on a 3-game losing streak this season. They lost to the Wolverines right before this, and Isaac had a career game against them. And then they end up losing this one as well. It's a close game, which we'll watch till the end. But I want to go into our first segment here. Again, this time around, guys, if you've watched our first 2 episodes, if you haven't yet, go back. We covered Go Strong against the Stallions, and then also XUM against Man at Arms. But this time around, we're going to jump a little bit. We're not going to watch the whole game. So Isaac, I think the first portion, you have a couple timestamps for us to jump to.
Yes.
And then Jerry, you can give in your input as to what Isaac's talking about here. I think the first segment Isaac wants to talk about is some big man defense.
Correct. Actually, there is a few timestamps produced here. If it's not too troublesome for you, there's actually 4 timestamps.
4 timestamps. So I'm
4
First one?
timestamps. So the
I have
first
to-
timestamp
Nope, you're just
is
watching, Jerry. All good.
just
Can you
watch
see the
what
screen,
happens
Jerry?
in this timestamp. So
Okay.
the first timestamp is actually in 10 minutes and 37 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
it's playing
actually
now.
looking at it.
Yeah. So you watch how your big man Andy Chin.
Andy Chin guarding the Iham, right?
Iham, yes.
Yes,
Iham.
correct.
Okay. And just take a look at like the effort a big man is putting in. Okay, Iham with his caliber, I'm pretty sure you will agree with me that he would beat Andy Chin under the post because like Ilham is more experienced and Andy Chin, you know, he's not like he doesn't grow up playing basketball, you know, go up training so much like us or something like that, right? But look at the effort that he put in to stop Ilham from scoring baskets. The next timestamp is at 12 minutes and 14 seconds. Also, he did the same thing. So whatever a big man should do, right? We don't normally see these days. He puts his hands up. He's denying the passing line. All right, he's guarding. You know, he's putting his hands up. Basically, it's what every big man should be doing. The next timestamp is also 17 minutes and 20 seconds.
So
Okay, so before we go on, okay, so Dre, let's cue that up. Before we play it, Isaac, what are we looking for here?
yeah, correct. Because the
Well,
video is actually too small for me.
Yeah, you can
you can
double
actually. Can you try to double click the screen, Jerry? It should be.
Okay, can. Yeah, I can. I
Yeah,
can see
it
the
should
screen
zoom in.
already.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Isaac, why don't you describe what we're going to see, and then we'll play it, so we know what to look for.
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we go back to
No, this
12?
one's fine. 17. No,
Oh,
17.
17 is
17, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can play it, Dre.
Did we miss it?
I think we missed.
17, 20, right?
Yeah, right before this foul.
Before the ball pass and
Yeah, look at
and
that. Look at how.
he
Okay,
the ball.
pause.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, look at how he's denying Itham so badly without. I mean, the Knights' plan, I know for sure, is been
Ball to Iham.
getting
Because
the ball to
Tottenham is not there.
Ilham, and hopefully he gets that easier basket, right? But look at how Andy is using his long wingspan to deny Ilham in the paint. I mean, Ilham for sure has the size advantage, but Andy is putting his long wingspan to work. Look at that deny there. I mean, and
Yeah.
then yeah.
Our strategy here is like this. When Andy denied Iham, right? Sumping when sorry, this is Azem, right? Or Afifi. Afifi taking the ball, correct?
Yeah, PV.
Mhm.
Afifi taking the ball. Sumping should be denying Afifi to stop the ball to go into Iham because we know that if John Ng is not there, Andy Chin might have losing some advantages on Iham. So Sumping should go into deny as well. So when Andy Chin stopped the ball, you can see that Afifi wanted to pass to Iham and the ball was it's out. If not mistaken, was Afifi cut in and the ball out, right?
Yes.
Can we play it, Dre, and let's see?
Yeah. Yeah, you see Afifi cut in. So that's why when Andy Chin was inside as well. So they will be leaving Iham still under control of Andy Chin. So this is how they play. Because Sun Ping should the main strategy that they set, right? They shouldn't let Afifi go into baseline. They should be letting Afifi to go another way to outside. I mean not the baseline,
Correct.
but the other side. Yeah, this is the setup on that day itself, lah. But they still managed to stop the ball because they just see. So you see Iham already, right? You see Michael and Iham. So everyone is actually knowing that we our main point is Andy Chin stopped Iham from moving. So when Iham get the ball, he wanted to dribble. Like Michael or even Sun Peng, they would be just going to steal the ball itself.
So you show the double after Ilham puts the ball down. What do you think of number 34 that just checked into the game? How's his defense?
Damn sucks, man.
All right, let's move on. That's awesome input. I mean, we're getting super geeky into basketball fundamentals now. I love it. But let's move on to the next bit. Again, we're gonna try to keep it going this time around. So really quickly for you guys that are gonna watch the rest of this, the first quarter.
Okay, yeah, this is. You should stop a while. You see, we actually missing some defense on this moment. You see, he go for 3 point before this, like a few seconds before.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more. No, just now after this, then he go and shoot for 3. I think pass already. Actually, there is a 3-point shooting on this part in this middle just now when we are talking. Yeah, after this, you just need to let it run now. You just need to let it run a bit. Yeah, so Iham shoot. I get the rebound. I pass, then everyone run. Okay. Yeah. Then after that, still moving. Then he came for an empty shot for 3. This is the reason that we didn't communicate well. It supposedly should be Michael or Yao Long, but everyone just leave it empty.
Maybe it's the next play. Let's just see it through.
Yeah, you pause a bit at here. Our strategy should be man. Then you see, okay, let's go already. Okay, you play.
Oh, Jose take the open
They go
tree.
for 3 because you see,
Yeah.
Chin Takeaway is actually behind him. He was not noticing that his person already came in.
Yeah.
I go in front, but it's already too late.
Jose
Because
took
this
the
game, right,
open tree.
this game is actually one thing is that we still playing on a one-man game. Like we pass the ball to Yao Long, we play a one-on-one game all out. So we're actually looking like Chin to score, Yao Long to score, like Sun Peng to score. So when they become when the game was turned away, become the offense, right? When night offense, then everyone was just lost focus. We're actually losing a lot of this kind of balls point. No people go and defend.
So my thoughts that I saw so far in that first quarter was your defense, Advanced Pro defense wasn't great. The Knights defense wasn't great. But your offense was, you're right, it was a little bit of a one-man game, but it was the spacing was good and the half-court offense was good. But what happened in the first quarter was there were no fast breaks and it was good transition D by both sides. But we're gonna jump forward now to the second quarter. And I want to talk a little bit about your offense, and we can come back to your defense as you mentioned before. But right now for your offense, and you mentioned that it's one-man game and that sort of thing. But I want everyone to see sort of what you guys did on offense. So if we go to 3250 here, you guys ran through the post at least, I don't know, 90% of the time in this game. So Sun Peng into the post and cut. So that's such a basic half-court offense that you guys time and time again would do, not just in this game, but basically ever since then, right? Every season, you guys just go into the post.
Correct.
And especially here, it's interesting because you start a little run. So so you got a block by Techway. I think it's the next possession that it's the same setup and you have a different outcome. So we can let it play and we can watch. But Jerry, I know you said there's a lot of one man game, but again, if you rewatch this game, 90% of the time it's a post up for Sun Peng for Techway. I know if John Ung was there, it'd be for John Ung. But even for Yao Long in the mid post, okay, here we watch again. They're going to the same play again, and this time since they're overplaying Tegway, you get an open three. So it's kind of hard to defend that. And later on, there's other variations of that too, and that we'll look at. So yeah, talk a little bit about that offense that you guys ran.
You see, even in season 10, season 9, season 10, I think that Chin Tegway still unstoppable. Because when he really get the ball, right, he can just go like nobody business. Too scary, you see. Even again already, you see, the post game. Because no people can stop Sun Peng or even Chin Tegway. So the ball mostly will move around their hand. Yao Long supposedly should be standing outside. Because Yao Long was, I think that it's fire that day. He got a lot of 3 points. He should be standing outside, but he still wanted to go in. But to be frank, right, they should be playing 2-man post-up game, either Sun Peng, either Chin. So if they can't go in, the ball will be going to Yao Long, and Yao Long will make the final decision. So this is how the game should be played. And they play it very well. You see a lot of pass, cut in, and they just manage to get the point easily.
Yeah, Isaac, any thoughts on that? I'm looking. There's another play that is exactly what you're talking about. But Isaac, any thoughts on that while I look for it?
No, I think I agree with what Jerry said. I mean, not to say they are not that unstoppable, but just that when it comes to live games, right, when you're on the floor and before the game, you have all these plans going on in your mind, like how to defend and stuff like that, right? But when you sub in and when you're on the court, on the floor, right, that plan somehow just backfire, or you either forget what to do, stuff like that. And I think it's the pressure, or just the aura of these kind of players.
Again, you see.
Yeah.
Sun Peng again. Then Sun Peng again. Then either Chin Tegway again, or even Yao Long also can go and post the game as well.
Yeah. One thing about Chin Tegway and Sun Peng, right? They understand like what their body and agility is capable of. If they can spin off you, they'll spin off you. If they can bump you and they know that you can't take those kind of bumps, they'll bump you, right?
Yeah,
they won't force moves like, oh shit, I'm gonna jab step and then I'm gonna cross you. They don't do this kind of thing because they know they can't do it. So they use their body to their advantage. Is that they go for this bumps, and then when you take like let's say something especially, he'll take like at least 3 bumps to you. The first bump, the second bump, and then the third bump, he'll spin off you. So it's all these timings that comes to play that what makes Sun Peng and Chin Tegway very
and
good
here
in
again,
the low post actually.
Andy gets it in the opposite post and then throws the ball off of, I think it was Huzair's face or somebody's face. But yeah, everyone can post. Their post game is really good, like you mentioned. We also have a comment from Andy Lam on Facebook. He says Andy Chin was a national team player when he was young. So there you go.
Yeah, he's roommate for John Ng.
Oh, okay.
So they know each other. They knew each other for a long time already.
Okay. So what's it like to play with former pro players? What's your role besides entertainment manager, Jerry?
Okay. Actually, I was being selected to this team is because of a bit of relationship. Because I know Coach Lim, I know Chris Wong. So I just get him to play just mainly to defense. So I don't do my job well on season 10 because my mind still like wanted to go for offense. Until like season 11, I already gave up on offense. I would just go for defense only.
But I think was it season 11 or season 12? You had like a little bit of a breakout on offense for a little while.
Yeah, correct. I might be playing for 2 or 3 quarters, but I still only like 1 or 2 trial. Yeah, something like this.
All right, cool. All right, Jerry. So we're going to switch over soon to get the Knights side of things, but I'm going to ask you one more question here, real quick. Actually, before that, let me just summarize. So for everyone that's following around, we're gonna jump over to the third quarter soon. But if you're watching it, the second quarter, basically, there's a lot more turnovers than the first quarter. Defense not as good on either side, but Advanced Pro, like we were talking about, they're really going with this half court offense where you have the spacing, you have the double post, they rotate the ball. Sufyan and Ajim come in for the Knights, and they're really making an impact. And there's about 3 or 4 defensive 3-second calls, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. But the next segment that we want to talk about, and I'm going to ask you first, and then we're going to bring in Japun, who's joining us from the night side right after this. But before we switch over, I want you to watch this back-to-back plays, and I want to hear your comments here, Jerry. So this is really what I think is the story of the game. It's about this double-edged sword of sort of the superstar versus the team game. So if we jump over to 51-30, there's back-to-back plays here that I think tell the story of this game. What you're going to see is from the Knight side, Ajim gets the ball, and he's going to go. And again, I'm not trying to hate on Ajim, but this is what he's doing. He's going 1-on-4, turnaround shot, and it's a miss. Now, coming back the other way, you guys, Advanced Pro, slow it down, and you get a shot where everyone on the team gets a touch. So you're trying to go into the post to Tech Wei. It's not there, so you reverse it over. Sun Peng gets it into Andy. And the double or the cut comes through, and then CP probably not the best person to shoot it, but you get a wide open shot, right? So to me, that sort of tells the whole story of this game. Even though it was a close game, even though there's a good comeback that comes, down the road, and even though, and it's surprising to me honestly that you say, this was a season where you guys are still playing one-on-one. In this game, I felt like the ball moved quite well for you guys. So what do you think as far as even though you have your own superstars as well, what do you think about team ball versus relying on your main players?
Actually, our main players connected by one guy. To be honest, you see when Lai Sun Yik, our John Stockton, you see when he was inside the court, right? Every game that we played, and without him, it's totally different. He really can link up all the superstar player just to listen to him. He don't need to give any orders. Everyone will just follow him, and the ball will definitely reach to your hand. Anything happen, you will just pass back to him. This is why a lot of times, right, we actually saved by him, our team, especially on those tight games. He will carry the games with like 8 or 9 steal, even 10 steal. Yeah. So,
yeah, especially the season 12 triple overtime. He was huge in your game. Offensive rebounds, he controlled the pace.
Yes, he is definitely the guy already. He actually wanted to control the game some more, like less than 1 second. You see, it's a few time limit reach call. If not, right, I tell you, he will just carry the game until the first OT already settled the game.
Yeah, definitely. Isaac, any thoughts? Team versus superstar, the double-edged sword, right? Guys like Ajim who do really well, they can put points on the board, but when they're not doing well or the rest of the team isn't doing well, sometimes that is a dangerous position to be in. What do you think, Isaac?
Well, how to say, like, because Ajim has been playing for multiple teams also, right? Not only a Knights, but he has been playing longer for the other team, which is Bayang Gelap, right? So I guess he is used to that kind of freedom that his other team is giving him to do those kind of things. But when it comes to the Knights, where Knights they adopt those kind of very mechanical based type of strategy where not to say you can't be free to do those kind of things, but it's more mechanical where you have more success in moving the ball like Advanced Pro did and stuff like that, right? And I guess Ajim wasn't used to it. He was used to having
He
that
needs to carry a lot of
freedom.
balls. Yes, correct.
Yeah, and then I guess he kind of like, went about it. He kind of like, how to say, he he wasn't in that Knights team kind of mind. He was in the other team kind of mind. So he kind of forgotten where is he at that time, and he just started doing his own thing, which is not a bad thing. It's just that it doesn't work with a team like Advanced Pro where they know that what kind of player this Ajim is and how to defend him. It's not that it's
It's easier
bad.
to
Yeah,
lock in on one, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that
And
it's
just
bad.
to
It's
chime in real quick, Isaac, what we saw just now was he actually drove to the basket and took a shot to the face and was actually bleeding for a while from his mouth. So yeah, it's again not a lack of effort or anything like that, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just that it didn't work that time. It may have worked like when he was with other teams and stuff like that. And so he thought he tried to bring his that arsenal to this kind of game, but just unfortunately it doesn't work.
All right, Jerry, we are gonna let you go. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna bring Japon in now. You can stick around and watch the Facebook feed. Please stay safe, and we will see you when we're back on the court, bro.
I hope that all of us will be back on the court soon. Thanks, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
Right.
much.
Thank you, Jerry, for joining.
Yeah, I will be joining you guys on the game. I will just not talking.
All right, yeah. Comment for us. Let us know what to talk about. All right, we're gonna set up Japon here to join us. Off camera is our producer extraordinaire, Mr. Andre. Dre, how are we doing? Are we good to go? Do you need to change anything while we get Japon in here, or shall we keep talking about the game?
Why don't you keep on talking about the game? Japon's face is will be ready shortly. We'll be ready shortly.
All right. While Dre does the magic, you guys on Facebook, let us know what do you think of this game. Again, we're talking about season 10, Advanced Pro versus the Knights. This is before Advanced Pro go on to win their second championship. And Isaac, what real quickly, why did you want to talk about this game? I know you and I were trying to decide which games to talk about. We've covered a bunch of different ones. Why did you want to talk about this game specifically?
Well, like what Jerry said earlier, right? The Knights versus Advanced Pro games has always been close. It may not be as exciting as the previous season where Irfan had 59 points. The XUM won their Hero Cup finals, stuff like that. But I think the reason why I want to point to at this game is just how Advanced Pro is as a team. I think many people they're 3 times back-to-back champion, back-to-back champion. But how do they do it? I mean, they have Chin Taek Wei, they have Yao Long, they have Michael, whoever. Of course, they can win. People always think like that from the paper, like, okay, you have this big player's name, obviously they're gonna win. But the thing is, people don't know how hard is it for Advanced Pro to get that championship.
And there's a lot of stuff that you assume too, right? Like I watched this game and I said, oh man, these guys already know what they're doing. They're spacing well. And the first thing Jerry says, like, oh, we play too much, one-man ball. So yeah, it's definitely underrated what they've done, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, there's so many games that we can pick from that they play. That as good as they are, they're not dominant like Red Baron was, or even like the Rhinos were. They have so many close games that they won, and a lot against the Knights as well. And maybe maybe one of the things we got to do is also relook at that triple overtime game that they had this season.
Yeah. And speaking of Red Baron, I mean, Red Baron is on a whole nother level where I would just give the cash prize or the medal straight away to them without even starting the tournament. But yeah, I think this is a message to whoever that doubts the other teams besides Advanced Pro, that they all these other teams besides Advanced Pros, they gave a fight. It's not like Advanced Pro red carpeted their way to 3 times champion, stuff like that. And most of the games, right, it always started with Advanced Pro trailing. Actually, it always started with Advanced Pro trading, and then Advanced Pro always claw their way back. That's why if you guys did listen to my commentary in season 12, right? No matter like how much teams try to stop Advanced Pro, right? They will always try to claw their way back because that's how they are. You know, they call this sorcery kind of timeout. They talk some stuff. I don't know what they're talking. I mean, they might have brought in some Michael Jordan's secret stuff or something like that. And then after the timeout, right?
Ooh, Space Jam.
Everybody just caught fire, like literally. Yeah. Everybody just caught.
Well, I mean, catching fire is one thing, but they just know how to play. You know, like when you talk about Michael Jordan sauce or whatever, guys like Yao Long, guys like Tech Wei, guys like John Ung that been there. I mean, this is SSL, right? This is just amateur recreational basketball. These guys have played, you know, pro level or at least national level, so they know what it takes to get certain things done, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think
so how we doing, Dre? Can we bring Japon in?
I think the right sentence to describe Advanced Pro is they are not easily phased by all this points trail. You know, they trail by 20 points, but they won't be easily phased by that.
Yeah. All right, so guys, thanks for joining us, and we have on camera now Mr. Azmil, better known as Japon to everybody. How are you doing, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How are you, man?
Good. Just busy with work online. So
I can justify that for you. Dia macam baru bangun.
Hey, you know what? At this time, I mean, in all seriousness, we got to feel like blessed if we got work right now, right? So,
yeah,
no complaints there, right? Some people don't have it, so it's good. But how about, you know, again, when we started this episode, we were talking about how this is supposed to be the end of our MCO, but now it's extended another 2 weeks. How you dealing? Are you all right? And how are you gonna cope for the next 2 weeks?
Enjoy doing work at home. So
yeah, but you can't play ball. What are you doing about that?
Yeah, that's the only part that I'm actually really thinking about buying a basketball court right now, like a rim and a board, just so I can shoot around the side. So
I thought you said buy a basketball court, like straight up a court.
That rich, so
he's an architect. He's gonna design one.
Well, design it, but you know.
I think of the people like that we've just talked to, that, you know, we should buy stocks in basketball rim manufacturers at this point, because everyone is thinking about that at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, they keep extending it, so
yeah. Okay, so again, thanks for joining us. We're talking obviously about Knights versus Advanced Pro. Spoilers here. Unfortunately, you guys do end up losing this game. It's the quarterfinal.
You guys watching this game, because I wasn't at this game. I didn't play in this game.
Yeah. No, you weren't. You weren't actually. But
I think I was overseas for a conference or something.
Okay. Have you had a chance to watch it since, or heard about it? Or do you remember after this game? Any thoughts from your team?
I mean, we blamed him.
Yeah. That's the only reason why we invited you in this joint call.
My chance to take you down on TV, on live television right now. Come on, my chance to take you down.
You're taking me down. I think it's the same. It was the same issue that we had all season. We were playing a certain way, and then when we couldn't execute our game plan, then we didn't have like a backup plan, sort of. So we were playing one way, and then when that didn't work out, when shots weren't falling down, we kind of didn't have anything to fall back on. So that was like one of the main things that was happening during the season.
That's interesting that you say that, because you guys have so many talented guys that you can just give the ball to, anyone from you to, you know, Idham to, you know, Uzair, you know.
We're cruising, I think. Like the first few games, you were getting comfortable. I think that could have been the reason why we were just like, taking it easy. I mean, it was basically our fault. Like we kind of just relaxed. I think the attendance at training wasn't so great. Like towards the end.
And if you have an easy schedule, sometimes you kind of take it for granted, right?
Yeah, I think that was one of the main things. And then once we got into the playoffs, and stuff, so that kind of everything just sort of went downhill. We couldn't adjust, didn't have the time to adjust. So I think that was one of the reasons why we didn't do well that season.
Yeah, right before this, you guys played Wolverines and lost to them. And not to hate on the Wolverines, but they weren't the best team. You guys had AVA, who you smoke every time, and then Thunderbirds right before that. So yeah, you're right. Maybe this was a big jump, right?
Actually pissed off with ourselves. Like we just didn't play well. So I think after the game we all had like a long talk. I think Dre was really pissed off at the end of the game. There was no defense. There was no communication. I think basically some of the main things that a lot of teams have issues with. Then I think we just didn't have time to adjust, and we don't have, and obviously it's an amateur league, so we don't have training every day to work on things. So we might have one training a week, if at all. So it's kind of hard.
That's crazy, because when you guys show up on the court, it definitely seems like you guys have more prepared than bandwagon. That's for sure. But then most teams, seems like you guys know what you're doing.
One thing, but execution is another. Like if we can game plan a lot of things, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Then the players have to actually just play through some of the things that they're going through. So sometimes it doesn't work out. So
all right. We're gonna jump onto the screen. If on your screen, Japon, if you want to double click on the game so that it's a little bit bigger. Dre, I want to actually jump back to the double-edged sword portion real quick and get Japon's thoughts on that before we go to 3 seconds.
Can do that. All right. That means that is
51:30. So, Japon, watch this, and I don't know if you caught it earlier, but basically this is what we think is basically the story of the game, where Ajim goes 1-on-4 against Advanced Pro one way. Again, trying to be aggressive, but definitely a tough shot, and one versus 4 fading away to the baseline versus what Advanced Pro gets the other way here. So they're trying to go into Tech Way. They've been doing a good job of posting him up, but can't get it. So they reverse the ball over. Sun Peng touches it. Andy touches it. He's going in the post, and then they find an open 3-point shot on the other side, right? So to me, that's like a tale of two stories here, right? Or 2 game plans anyway, where you have a superstar trying to take over, and then you have a team that's just trying to stick with their game plan. What are your thoughts on that?
Because I think that falls back into what I was saying. We were playing a certain way, and when that didn't work out, we kind of just tried to force things rather than let the game come to us. I think that was one of the major things that was happening. So like you see Ajim, I think he was dribbling up and then taking a shot, contested in front of 5. I think he was just trying to make something happen. So it's not his fault for trying. But I think because maybe some of the other things that was happening at the time wasn't really, we were down at the time, so it wasn't really working out. So he was probably just trying to take it upon himself.
Mix it up, yeah.
Do something with the ball. If he had made that, it would have been good.
Exactly. What if he makes that? Will you still be
the momentum and everything?
Thinking like that? No?
Right. And again, I'm not trying to pick on Ajim, and it was more the back-to-backness of that play that kind of sums it up, because it's not just him. There's a lot of over dribbling, I thought, by you guys in the half court. A lot of that versus Advanced Pro, and I think we heard from Jerry earlier, and they're talking about how they basically played through their 2 guys. Everyone ends up touching the ball, but because they're making the decisions, I think everything becomes a lot clearer. Versus to me from the outside, it seems like you guys are all trying to execute like you said, but maybe not that one person to go to kind of figure out what to do on the floor.
Yeah. Advanced Pro has been playing like this for every season they're in the SSL, so we know what they're capable. And even though they play through 1 or 2 guys, the rest of them actually do their part. They have a role, and all of them execute their roles perfectly or almost. If their job in that place is just screen and roll, they will just do that, and things will open up, because when they do that, they get open lanes, they get people moving, they get the ball running. I mean, they get the ball moving around. So it helps when they have like people who sort of buy into the whole game plan.
And people that can run all those fundamentals, right? Like all of them can post, all of them can run a pick and roll. So and their spacing is great.
What's their age, like the average for the team?
I think it's surprisingly high. It's just I think Jerry's young, and then maybe a couple other guys, but everyone else is in their early to mid 30s, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them are like experienced. They've seen them around a lot of turns. So.
We were talking to Jerry earlier. He said he is their official entertainment manager. Who's the entertainment manager for the Knights?
Entertainment manager.
Oh, yeah.
Japan.
Shut up, man.
Okay, so let's jump ahead now, Dre, if we can, to the next segment. We're going to talk about defensive 3 seconds. Again, if you guys are following along or you're going to watch this game later on, basically in the third quarter, Advanced Pro put together a run again with this nice half-court set. I felt like the Knights didn't do too well in that quarter, even though you guys did narrow the deficit. And I thought Suresh did really well against Techway in the post defensively in the third quarter, but we'll see later on. There's a little bit that happens later on about that. But let's jump over to 1 minute 25 and 18 seconds. We're going to see not the most exciting call, but it is a defensive 3 seconds call. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is that this is, I think, the 6th defensive 3 second call in this game. So you guys on both sides are, trying to trap the other team into a defensive 3 seconds. I think Dre's yelling at Ong to blow the whistle basically every single possession, and he gets one here. But I just want you guys to see Techway's reaction first. Techway's down there by the baseline, and he's going crazy. Like he literally looks like, someone just stole his baby or something like that. But it ends up being, it's not even on him. It's on Sun Peng, number 15. He's the one that gets called on. So the segment, I just wanted to ask your guys' opinion. Do you guys think that defensive 3 seconds helps improve our game? So we have that for SSL. It's a little bit different from other leagues. It kind of forces you into a man-to-man. Technically, you don't have to play a man-to-man, but it forces you into those skills or those tendencies. So what do you guys think of that? Isaac, why don't you go first? What do you think about defensive 3 seconds? Does it help improve our game?
Me personally, whenever I'm playing in SSL, definitely yes, because me personally, I don't like a stagnant defense like the zone play. I don't like it because I'm like size disadvantage. So I don't really work well with zone. And I like that I'm actively moving around the defense because of the 3 seconds defensive rule. So it definitely does improve our game by, being versatile and expanding our defensive option.
How about you, Chupon? Do you think it helps? I mean, and not just for you, right? Also like for basketball in general. What do you think?
I like 3 second rule. It's good. Like for a zone, we play zone a lot in Malaysia at the very least. For a lazy defensive player such as myself, zone is great. Zone can help me out because I don't need to.
Zone is awesome.
But at the same time, like it's when you play man, you actually have to play defense. You have to guard your man. If the guy's moving around, you have to be aware at all times where he is. In one play he might be at the top of the key, the other he might be at the corner. So it's good to sort of like help develop your awareness of the sense of the court, because you need to be able to help at the same time while also making sure that your man. So if you're the type that gets lost all the time, like man would usually help build that, improve that somewhat. Whereas somebody who's just, you see a lot of the times when people are playing in SSL, they'll just stick to one area and they just stand there because they're so used to zone defense. Sometimes it leads to 3-second calls. Sometimes they'll get caught. Like people will get open because their defender is sleeping on them. So it's good. Like at least you can point them out. And then one thing I like about man is you can literally blame somebody for missing their assignment. Like I mean, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but at the very least, like you can actually tell them, look, this is your man. It's your responsibility. You have to take care of it. You have to play defense. You have to do whatever it takes, and play some defense. Whereas in the zone, people can just say, "Oh, you were closer to that guy. You should have been covering me or whatever." So it's very easy to like run away from that responsibility of guarding your man or whoever's in front of you. So it's good.
And I'm gonna go one further. I'm gonna say that it is a good thing, for accountability and all that, and to blame people, like otherwise get off the court, right? I mean, you got to be able to, hold it down. And if not, I'm not saying that everyone's a great defensive player, but then you got to strategize, right? How do you hide that player? How do you help? How do you rotate over? And I think that makes it a lot interesting than standing on one part of the court and waiting for the ball to come over to you.
Yeah. It's good playing against the zone is easy. Man is a lot harder because you actually have to take it into account people. And help can come from anywhere. Like you might not be able to see somebody coming in and getting a block or getting the extra help on a double team or something. So it actually makes it easier. You have to actually get better at offense too when you're going up against man.
So are you guys seeing in like pickup games more man being played? Like any changes over the last 5, 6, 10 years, or it's still about the same? Everyone just wants to stand around.
Yeah, it's the same.
Isaac, same for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
So lazy.
So, I remember I've asked some groups to actually play man, and they get really like surprised by that. It's like, can we just play man? Like pick up a man. They would just look at me like I was.
Excuse me? How dare you?
We're playing man and pick up. It's like, yeah, just pick your man.
We're not trying to sweat here. Are you crazy?
I was surprised that people were just
But I think it's more preference type. Both style of defense is great.
Yeah.
Both style, great.
Yeah,
there's no like
have to be able to,
disadvantage.
you have to learn to score against the zone too. You say it's easy, Japan, but if you're a bad shooter, it's not as easy. It seems. So,
well, zone is built for people who can't shoot. Like zone is built to counteract teams that can't shoot. Like if they can't shoot, you can just squeeze the zone in, and then shooting breaks all game. So if you can't shoot, then it's a different story. Then you play a zone, that's a bad call because you can just set screens and get shooters wide open shots at the perimeter, and then the zone is there. It's what happens in the NBA. Everybody can shoot.
Yep.
So play a zone, and after a few plays, they're gonna just
exactly.
It's easy for them to score.
Exactly. All right, we're gonna jump ahead now, guys. We're gonna watch basically the last minute of play here. I don't know if you have watched this recently, Japon, and what happens, but we're gonna run through it real quick. Dre, if we can go to 133, I believe. So basically, what happens, if I have the rundown right, is you guys are down at this point. Yalong misses 2 big free throws, and then it comes back to the other way. And there's a big and one play here, Ajim to Afifi, and it's huge. We don't have the sound on, but you guys kind of erupt. Putra's on the court celebrating. And I think that's the first lead of the game for you guys. And then after that, let me see. Do you remember what happens after that, Isaac? Let's see. Okay. So basically, what's funny here, and we can let it play. To me, anyway, it seems that as we get the sub, Michael comes in there for CP because I wasn't sure CP, and again, no disrespect to him, Charles, or even Chris Wong. I'm not sure why those two are on the court at this point. It's a 1-point game, and to me, Michael should have been on the court, and even Jerry at this point, just from an agility standpoint. But so let's watch here a little bit. So the Knights get the rebound back. I think they get one more shot here. Suresh.
Suresh with a mystery.
But Afifi, again, he leads a huge comeback in the fourth quarter. I think he has 9 or 10 points in the fourth. Jim gets one more try here. I like this matchup this whole game. Jim versus Yalong. Kicks it out Simpang. Again, Advanced Pro very relaxed. Michael just checked into the game but misses here and ends up going out of bounds. And Dre calls a timeout to fix it up on defense. I think we can fast forward past the timeout, Dre. And the commentator at this point is off. I think Isaac, you were helping out on the court at one point and then did not come back to the commentary. So we don't have a commentator to see exactly how much time was left, but I believe it's about 20 seconds here. Dre, do you remember how much time at this point?
No, but it's definitely less. It was probably 4 or 3 seconds left. It wasn't as many. It was like they just didn't need to foul. If they didn't foul and just let a shot go up, we would have won the game. Just so that everyone's clear what we really stand.
Right. It might have been a little bit more because Advanced Pro takes their time to get the ball in, but let's watch what happens. So maybe let's say 4 or 5, maybe 8 seconds. So they run a nice down screen, and Dre, you're yelling. You're telling him this is down screen. They get into Techway. Suresh has been playing great D on Techway the whole game. Just bumps him as soon as he gets the ball. Down one, up one with 5 seconds left, and sends him to the line. And as
Suresh fouls out.
Does he foul out on that one as well?
Yeah, he fouls out.
And there's a little bit insight. I mean, Suresh told me specifically that actually Techway pulls him as he receives the ball, which kind of forces him into his back, which is a veteran move. I mean, the whole point is not to be that close in the first place when Techway's on the 3-point line. Just let him catch the ball.
Rewind it. Can we see that?
I'm not sure. I'm not from this angle. We can try again.
But yeah, I mean, that's interesting that you bring that up because there's a play in the fourth or maybe the third quarter where he gets a call against Suresh in the post where he kind of chicken wings him. And the one ref has got the blocking foul on Suresh, and then they talk and Ong overturns it, and it's an offensive foul on Techway. So he's got all the little post tricks.
Yeah, I don't think you can see here specifically, but he does. He says that he gets jerked or pulled, and I mean, it's a pretty. You don't make that call, I guess, right? You know, not on the perimeter with the game on the line, and he's going to shoot free throws. It's just not a call that you generally make.
But like you're saying, like for Suresh, don't put yourself in.
Don't put yourself there. Yeah. I've told him. I told him already. If they're going to catch the ball on the 3, just let them catch it. It's all right. We'll just defend and play the game, right?
Right. So Techway ends up hitting those 2 shots. I mean, it's a great effort by the Knights. Fifi put on a show in the fourth quarter with his effort. I mentioned Advanced Pro's weird lineup at the end of that, and so I'm not sure if that was fatigue or fouls. But Isaac, to wrap it up, what do you think of that? How it finished and this whole game?
Well, I think to clarify your confusion on this weird lineup on the Advanced Pro, having Cheaping on the court, and then Chris Wong on the court, and then who else? Just these 2, right?
Yep, just those 2.
Yeah, so Cheaping, as you get to know him more, right, in this kind of season 11 and 12, right, his role is to just follow you like you're his girlfriend, like he's your girlfriend or something like that. His role is to annoy you, to make you get frustrated, like how Yaolong is, or how Ajim is frustrated with how Yaolong defends him. So he's a defensive player, which I think in this like very intense game, a 1-point difference, 2-point difference like that, I think Cheaping is the best man to be.
But I mean, Andy must have fouled out. Michael ends up subbing in. I just don't know why. Yeah, I mean, I know they're undermanned, but I just feel that I'm not hating on CP's game. I just think there were two other guys that could have been there besides him.
Yeah, I think it depends who the opponent's lineup is. For example, like if this Knights lineup and it's a 1 point or a 2 point game, who's the ball gonna go to? Who's gonna take the final shot? It's gonna be your guards, right? Or if you have a super center, but this is not the case. But so it's in this Knights versus Advanced Pro case, it's gonna be Ajim, it's gonna be Afifi, right? So it's either these two. So Afifi, he's guarded by. I mean, he has a very good mid-range jump shot, but it's containable. All right. Ajim, he will do his magician stuff, and then he'll cut the rim, and he'll go to the basket for that easy two. So I think they're more concerned about Ajim getting his offense and scoring the basket, and therefore they sub whoever and to let Chipping in the game and to guard Ajim instead.
Well, so we'll see. We'll watch this very last play here, and on the court for Advanced Pro is Michael, Chris Wong, Tekwe, Yao Long, and Sun Peng. And on Ajim is Yao Long, who's been guarding him most of the game. So let's see what they do on this last play. Before actually we do that, Dre, since you're there, what did you tell the guys before you went on?
Okay,
I think probably what 4 seconds left.
Yeah, I'll go to from the sideline to get a quick basket. It's supposed to be double punch, but they've been breaking it up pretty well because Yao Long's on Ajim, and Ajim can't. He doesn't release fast enough on the double punch. So we actually fake it here, where the point was to banana cut and then give the ball over to Sofian to actually run a 2-man game, or to run the double punch with Ajim being the screener. But Ajim floats away instead, and Sofian because he's got the mismatch, right? He's got the bigger, slower guy on him. So we just wanted him to get.
And Sofian had been having a decent game as well.
Correct. So the idea was to give him a chance to get to the basket or play the 2-man game, whichever came through. And then what does happen as you see it unfold is Sofian waits because thinking that there was supposed to be a screen coming, which is supposed to be Ajim going over to help with the screen and the double punch to make it work, right? And so we actually lose about 2 seconds or a second and a half before Sofian actually makes his move. You see here.
Okay. Yeah, long switches right away. Oh, and still ends up somehow. What I love about that is it ends up in Afifi's hand somehow, which it's always a telltale sign of a great player. It somehow always ends up in their hand. He just couldn't finish it there. But yeah, I think that was a good switch up top. I think they adjusted quite well. I'm not sure. I guess Brian was just put it up because he was there. Dre, or were you guys trying to get that shot?
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I can't really say.
No, and Dre's gone. But what would you have done differently there, Japon, on that last play besides give you the ball, ice, so everyone get out of the way?
I think the best option then was to probably kick it inside right away. We could have just ran double punch straight away, threw the ball inside, and then set up a screen for Ajim or Pian as well as Fee so that they can get a clear shot. But at the same time, these guys they're good defenders, so they will and then they'll probably make the pass hard, and then they'll probably run through any screen. So it's hard to say what else we could have done properly there. Then they probably knew that Brian was a shooter, and they contested the shot at the end. Even though there was a good amount of help, Pian was driving to the middle. So really, just a good defensive play by them. So it's hard to say what else we could have done better.
Yeah, they adjusted really well. I think Dre fell off the map there, and we're watching the Atlas ball game now. But that's all right. We're gonna wrap it there. Japon, thanks for joining us. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to say to our listeners? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to talk about before we go?
just can't wait for the season to restart again. So
Yeah, all of us, man. All right, stay safe. Isaac, thanks again. And Dre, thank you. This is Rewatchables episode 3. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Are we off yet?